All right, so today we are going to take our surface area and apply it to cylinders. And this is a little more complicated because if you remember, surface area is the area of all the faces of a three-dimensional shape. And so far we've only done prisms. So we've done rectangular and triangular prisms. And those are really easy because the faces are all two-dimensional shapes that we're aware of. However, we know if we were to take the net or unroll a cylinder, that's not as easy of formulas to use. So we're going to talk about new terms today, and we're going to talk about this word lateral. So first thing I need to do is just explain to you what a lateral face is and lateral area, because we will be using lateral area to find the surface area of a cylinder. So the lateral faces is pretty easy. Those are just all the faces that are not your bases. So all faces, not bases. So hopefully we remember if we're talking about a cylinder has two bases, which are circles. So we would be talking about that round shape of your cylinder. So if this was like my cylinder, I'm talking about the distance that goes around this piece, okay? And this is not going to be a rectangle if we were to unroll it because the top is a circle. So we'll have to use a different formula for that. To find your lateral area, you actually find the perimeter of your base and you will multiply that by your height. And the lateral area is going to be all that area combined. So this is a rectangular prism. The lateral area would be the area of all those four rectangles combined. Where on our cylinder, again, I don't really have a formula for that yet. So we were talking about this distance around the side of our cylinder, okay? So again, to find the lateral area, we will be finding the perimeter of our base and multiplying that by how tall it stands, the three-dimensional shape stands. Surface area, we know that's the area of all of our faces combined, okay? So best way to do this is to just go ahead and get started. If you don't have a calculator, I recommend getting one since we're doing circles. So this is our formula to find the surface area of a cylinder. Okay, and I'll write cylinder even though these are the notes for cylinder, just so we remember. So first thing is we have to know what L stands for. And L is going to stand for that lateral area. And again, the lateral area is the area of that shape of your face. Okay, and since we don't have edges in a cylinder, we don't have rectangles, we're going to have to find this a little bit different than our base times our height, okay? So to find lateral area, you find the perimeter of your base, so P stands for the perimeter, and we will multiply that by how tall, again, the height stands for how tall the three-dimensional shape stands from base to base, okay? So then we have to think, well, how do I find the perimeter of a circle? Because the base is a circle. How am I going to use what I know about circles to find the perimeter? What do you guys think? Tyler, what you got? All right, the perimeter of a circle is going to be our circumference formula, which is pi times our diameter. So we're going to have to remember how to do circumference as well as our area when we get into our 2B. So finding the surface area of a cylinder takes a little bit more work because we have to find our lateral area first and then plug that in. So as we know by now, I'm going to expect you to write the formula and plug it in. So for the lateral area of this, we're going to find the perimeter of our base times our height. So in this circle, I am given my radius, so I'm going to need my diameter. So I'm going to plug in pi times d times h. My diameter would then be 6 times pi, and the height of my three-dimensional shape would be my 9 because that is from circle to circle. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my calculator. 54 times 3.14. I'm going to use 3.14, not pi. I get 169.56 inches squared. But that is not my surface area answer yet. So now I have to go in and find my surface area using this formula. All I've done is find my L. Okay? So 2B, we know by now B stands for the area of our base. And I'm going to use 2y. Max? Fantastic, because I have two circular bases. So now I have to remember, how do I find the area of a circle? For that, I am going to do pi radius to the second power. So in this problem, I'm given my radius. I will plug that in, pi times 3 to the second power, which is going to give me 9 pi, but then I'm going to have to multiply that by 2 since I have 2 circles, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that in my calculator. And again, I'm using 3.14 for pi. And you should get 56.52 inches squared. Now, since I have my lateral area and my 2 bases, I can add these 2 numbers together to get my final surface area. So I'll go ahead over here, 169.56 plus 56.25. Put that in my calculator and get 226 8/8 inches squared. And that would be my surface area. Again, if you're using the surface area.
It was 52, not 25.
Oh, that's okay. They'll catch my mistake.
Okay.
Did you pause it?
No.
Oh, that's my daughter.
Hi, guys.
My mistake. All right, so we're going to, you guys are used to my mistakes. So if I were to fix that, let's see. And if you use the pi button instead of your 3.14, your answer will be a little different as well. So please remember that stuff we've talked about. Fixing my air, thanks, Lily. We would get 220. Oh, I punched it in right. I punched it in right, but wrote it wrong.
Oh, okay.
We're good. Okay, moving on to my last one over here, my second one, finding the surface area of this cylinder. So again, we're going to end up using our formula. Surface area equals lateral plus our 2 bases. Lateral area, again, is that distance around your shape. So first thing is you have to find that lateral area. Formula is your perimeter times your height. So finding your perimeter of your circle, what formula do I use? Ellie, what you got? Awesome. You're going to plug this into your pi times diameter times your height. In this case, I am given my diameter since it goes all the way across my circle. So I'm going to have 8 times pi times my height, which is from circle to circle, 12. All right, I'm going to plug that into my formula. And I get 301.44 inches squared. But that is not my final answer. So now I have to go through and find my 2b, or the area of my 2 bases. So my formula is pi r to the second power. What am I going to use to plug in for my r? Blake, what do you think? Awesome, 4. So I'll take pi times 4 to the second power. So I would take 16 pi, and again, I have to multiply it by 2 since there are 2 of them. And then I get 100.48 inches squared. Now I can find my surface area. What am I going to do to find my final surface area? Kennedy, what do you think? Right, I'm going to add those 2 numbers together. 301.44 plus 100.48. And again, if you use the pi button instead, you will have a little bit different answer. We should have 401.92 inches squared. And for this, I only had 2 examples to go through because they're so long. So if you have questions, please make sure you ask. Otherwise, print off your homework and work through the 6 I gave you. If you have any questions, let me know. See you tomorrow.